The name of lesson is A Tiger in the House. So, as in the last lesson, we read about having a bear as a pet in the home. Now, today we are going to read about how a tiger was kept at home. So, grandfather finds. Let me show you one thing before I start the story. See who is the writer, who is the author of the story. It must be Ruskin Bond. Yes, it is Ruskin Bond, and Ruskin Bond is not a foreigner for us. He is Indian writer, Indian author. So his main genre is to write for the children. So he is famous for the stories which he has written for the children. So grandfather finds a tiny tiger cub in the forest and brings him home. Grandmother calls him Timothy and brings him up like a human child. Timothy is playful and naughty. His companions are Toto, the monkey, a puppy, and other members of the household. So we came to know through these, main points, that grandfather brought it home. Grandmother loves him so much, and he has companions like Bear had. Remember, Bear had, small puppies, ponies, and also children as his playmates. And in this story, Timothy, which is the name of the tiger, he also have some friends. Now, Timothy the tiger cub was discovered by grandfather in the Terai jungle near Tehra. One day, when grandfather was strolling down the forest path at some distance from the rest of the party, he discovered a little tiger about 18 inches long hiding among the intricate roots of a banyan tree. Now, what is the meaning of strolling? Strolling means walking, wandering on foot, means walking by foot, just strolling, just having a walk there. So he was away from his party, means the other people who were there, who went to the forest, and he found that there was a little tiger who was just 18 inches long. It was trying to hide itself in what? In the roots. Intricate क्या होता है? Intricate means very complex, which are not far from each other. Together, you can say dense kind of. So he was trying to hide himself. He had the distinction of being the only member of the party to have bagged any game, dead or alive. Now, through this, we can guess that maybe grandfather was with the party, maybe finding the animals who were there in the jungle and maybe for hunting. And when he found, he was the only one, means he got the achievement of looking at or finding actually an animal. So he was the only member of the party to have bagged any game, dead or alive, means killed or got. This was the achievement of the grandfather because he found something wild, found some animal. At first, the tiger cub, who was named as Timothy by grandmother, was brought up entirely on milk given to him in a feeding bottle by our cook Mahmood. Now, same happened in the story, the bear story. There also, small bear was fed up, brought up on the milk bottle. Same happened with this tiger cub. So he was given feeding bottle by the cook, whose name is Mahmood. But the milk proved too rich for him. He was put on a diet of raw mutton and cod liver oil. Now, these two things were added in his diet, to be followed later by a more tempting diet of pigeons and rabbits. Now, again, one more comparison. Bear was fed upon the things which were veg. And in this story, we are reading that tiger was actually tiger can't survive on vegetarian things. So it's his particular diet which we cannot skip. So he was given the tempting diet. Tempting, I think everybody knows the meaning now. Attractive, which is appealing diet. Tempting over here means appealing diet of pigeons and rabbits. Timothy was provided with two companions, Toto, the monkey, who was bold enough to pull the young tiger by the tail and then climb up the curtains if Timothy lost his temper. Now, first companion, who is it? Toto the monkey, as you can see in this line. So, Toto was the monkey and he used to tease the little tiger. But tiger is tiger, whether it is young or whether it is, big one. But when Timothy got angry, then Toto would climb upon the curtains to save himself from him whenever Timothy was angry. And a small mongrel puppy found on the road by grandfather. Now there is another friend of tiger who is a small puppy, and he is also friend of Timothy. And then at first Timothy appeared to be quite afraid of the puppy and darted back with a spring if it came too near. In the beginning, when Timothy was too young, he used to be afraid of even of that small puppy. And what would he do? He would darted back. Darted means actually you all know, maybe you all know about the dart. It's a kind of game also. Pointed it is. So it's a missile-like weapon, and it is thrown by hand. When you dart, it means you go with the speed of that missile, right? So with the very high speed, he would dart back, he would move back with a spring, means with a great leap, and then he would try to save himself from the puppy. Now you can see tiger doesn't know about his strength and he's afraid of small puppy. Spring का meaning आप लिख सकते हो that it is to go in flow suddenly with speed. So he would make absurd dashes at it with a large forepaws and then retreat to a ridiculously safe distance. In the beginning, what would happen? Now, please note down the meaning of the words absurd. Absurd means, obviously, absurd means he would do a kind of inharmonious, which doesn't look nice, such kind of weird or awkward, right? Weird or awkward, that means absurd. And what is the meaning of dashes here? So dashes, yes, dashes over here means to make a gap. He would try to make a gap with in an awkward manner with his four paws, means his front paws, and then retreat to a, then he would try to go to the ridiculously means in a funny way. So in a funny way, he would try to go at some safe distance. Finally, he allowed the puppy to crawl on his back and rest there. Now, but later on, they became friends and he allowed the puppy to sit back on his back and rest there. Crawl means to not to walk, but to be on the knees or then climb upon his back. One of Timothy's favorite amusements was to stalk anyone who would play with him. And so, when I came to live with my grandfather, I became one of the tiger's favorite. Now, favorite amusements means favorite things which you enjoy doing. So, and what was that favorite thing? He would stalk, means he would watch the people, or he would do something with that people who would be playing with him. So, author says that when I came to visit my grandfather, I became his favorite person. With a crafty look means very decorative and very nice look in his glittering eyes, shiny eyes, his body crouching means the curved body, crouching body. He would creep closer means he would crawl closer and closer to me, suddenly making a dash for my feet and then would jump on my feet, rolling on his back means he comes on his back and kicking with delight. You must have seen a baby. You must have seen a small infant lying in the bed. What does he do? He cannot sit, he cannot walk, he cannot crawl. But what he can do? He can play while, he would do? He would move his feet, he would move his leg in the air and his hands in the air. So same activity was done by the small tiger and kicking with delight, kicking in air while being on his back and pretending to bite my ankles. And then he would also play with me and would pretend that as if he would what would he do? He would bite my ankles. He would just pretend, not actually bite them. So in this way, Timothy used to play with the author and would and the author became a kind of favorite for Timothy. He was by this time the size of a full grown retriever. Now you can say, and Tiger was not going to remain always a small cub. He would grow up. As we read in the last lesson, when the bear is small, it looks so sweet. But when it becomes, fully grown bear, anybody could be, scared of him. And we read in last lesson how his strength has increased, that he could kill a cow. And in the same way, this tiger also became a big tiger. And a retriever is a kind of hunter who can kill others, killer, you can say. And when I took him out of walks, people on the road would give as a wide berth. And obviously, when somebody would move out, means going with a dog for a kind of walk is, okay thing. But if somebody goes with a tiger on the walk, then obviously people would maintain a big gap. Berth means gap, wide means very in a great width, so people would try to stay away from us. And when he pulled hard on his chain, I had difficulty in keeping up with them. Then obviously it's quite clear that author is not stronger than the tiger. So whenever the tiger would try to pull the chain with which he is tied, then author found the difficulty in controlling the tiger. So, when he pulled hard on his chain, I had difficulty in keeping up with him. His favorite place in the house was drawing room and would make himself. There are word meanings given here also. You can get a kind of knowledge from this. Comfortable on the sofa. He would easily sit on the sofa and make himself comfortable. His favorite place was this. Reclining there with great dignity. Reclining is like being half laid, not properly sitting, not properly lying down when you sleep, then you lie down. He would recline himself. He would half lie down, to lean back, you can say, to bend his body. He would lean there on the sofa like a dignity, like a king does, and snarling at everybody who tried to get off him. And if you would go near him to shoo him away, snarl means, you can say, to say somebody to move from that place, right? Or to tie him. If somebody would disturb him at that time, he would, show the anger at that person. Timothy had clean habits. He was a clean animal. He would scrub his face with paws exactly like a cat. He would means scrub the face. He slept at night in the cook's quarters and always delighted at being let out by him in the morning. He used to sleep in the cook's quarter, and in the morning he would love to come out from that quarter and wander around. And it was, a happy thing for him.